But I think that's a really interesting factor. Just before I come on to another thing that I think that lends itself towards, because I know obviously you've got some exciting plans, and I'm sure some of that will probably involve growth of the team, etc. That's what I'm going to kind of come on to last. But before we come on to that, I just want to touch on something just briefly in terms of going through this transformation process, going through putting processes in place, digital systems in place, neatening everything up, making it all, rev like a Ferrari. Spend isn't everything. And I think, this is something that we briefly discussed before as well, just in terms of a kind of view on stuff. It's how do you see the process that you're going through? How do you position it from with a focus on those supplier relationships and that supplier management as a key kind of objective?
Yeah, supplier, again, coming back to the supplier experience, you've got to make it easy for the suppliers. And if you think whatever we're asking the suppliers to do, whatever hard time they're having, well, all of those systems are facing into the company as well. And so if we make it better for the suppliers, we're instantly going to make it better for ourselves. It's the flip side of the exact same coin. If a supplier has got 20 different touch points with 20 different systems operating in 20 different ways, what that means is on the inside of the company, we have got 20 different systems interfacing to 20 different parts of the business, operating in 20 different ways. If we simplify it for the suppliers, that's going to make their life much, much better for us, but it's also going to do the same for us. Yeah. So you start thinking about that overarching supplier experience that covers absolutely everything we do, every touch point. And the suppliers are interacting clearly, transactional level, invoicing, payments, receiving purchase orders. But also their validations when we onboard a supplier and we validate them and we continue to validate them throughout their lifetime with the company. There's interactions there. We're going to continually put questionnaires out, and this is even before we get onto sourcing and doing all of that.
Yeah, and I think when you look at that kind of mirror effect on what's happening with regards to the technology, I think it's a great point you make about if you're making it more complicated for the suppliers, you're probably making it more complicated internally as well. I think adoption is a massively important factor to consider with any kind of digital transformation. You can come up with the best ideas in the world, but the best solution if no one will use it.
It's not a massive thing. It is the biggest thing. Yeah, it is. You can't have a digital ghost town. I will not do that. The change management is the number one most critical thing. And the easiest way to do change management, coming back to what we said before, is create systems that are so intuitive that you don't need to do it, that people will be ripping your arm off to say, yeah, give me that. I know how to use it without any instruction manual. And this is a big lesson from the BT days, and really, something that, Cyril, the CPO, championed was consumer grade user interface on everything. And so with what we're doing, I've hired a UX designer to just work on the user experience for everything we do, be that internally or be that externally. Is the change management, if you don't get that done, you don't get it right, then nobody's going to want to use it. At worst, they're going to hate it and treat it as an escape room. And you can't have that.